Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Priceless B Movies. Now, let me ask you a question. We've all had these relationships, kind of our first love, either in high school or college, and there's always that intense passion, that intense longing with the first love to want to kind of take them and run off, and you want to just go get married, you want to elope, and you want to just leave the friends and family behind because you want to give everything to this person, and that's all well and good until a freakish looking cop grabs her and takes her to hell. We've all been there, right? Highway to Hell. So Highway to Hell stars Rob Lowe's little brother Chad Lowe, Christy Swanson, and Patrick Bergin. I have no idea what he's doing in this movie, but he's in there. Anyway, the movie is basically about Chad Lowe and Christy Swanson trying to make a getaway and elope, and then they take the wrong dirt road, basically take a wrong turn at Albuquerque, and she ends up being taken by this demonic police officer to hell. That's the movie. Contrary to what you might think, though, hell turns out to be a pretty funny place. There are cameos galore once Chad Lowe's character gets in his new souped-up auto and decides he's going to head into hell to save Christy Swanson. There's a lot of great cameos. You got Ben Stiller and his dad, Jerry Stiller. You got Lita Ford, Gilbert Gottfried. It seems like every little area of hell, which is, by the way, in this movie, imagined as basically a desert. Every other character that Chad Lowe runs into is either someone who's really famous now or someone who would have turned heads back in the early 90s when this film came out. Chad Lowe's pretty good in this. He doesn't really have a whole lot to do other than give a surprised expression that's somewhere along the lines of... And Christy Swanson's pretty good too. She kind of plays the damsel in distress, so she doesn't have a whole lot to do here, but the few really good lines she does have, she is more than capable of putting across. The real star of the show is Patrick Bergin, as you probably could have guessed. You see any movie with him, and you would know that he's probably the most impressive part of this movie. He plays a character in hell called Beazle. Now, if you can't figure out the twist halfway through the movie that he's the devil, what other hint did you need other than that damn name? As I said, there are some really funny things that happen in this movie. There's kind of a nice nod to The Shining, where here's this attractive girl who's going to seduce and kind of play the siren and convince Chad Lowe to, not continue his quest anymore, to kind of distract him, and then she turns out to be a monster. But it's played for some pretty good laughs. The monster designs in this movie are really inventive. Even the stop motion effects are nicely done. There's a three-headed Cerberus at the River Styx that's played very realistically. It is a three-headed dog at a river in the desert. But everything in this movie, all the symbolism, is really inventive, and I kind of dug the fact that it plays all that so down to earth, so to speak. The problems that arise in this film are mostly due to limited budget. You can tell in a lot of parts of the film that this was supposed to look nicer, or the makeup on this character should have been done better. The conviction of the screenplay and kind of what you're left with when it's put to screen are two very different things. Because of this, the tone is kind of uneven, and you can get a very good sense that this was meant to be more than it was. This was meant to be a little more insightful and a little more creative than it was allowed to with the money that they had. I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but I actually welcome a remake to this movie. The main reason I say that is because, one, not a lot of people know about it, so it'd be, if you had a remake of it, there wouldn't be too many people who were very mad about it. But also because I would like to see a movie like this get made today that, with a budget behind it, and with some, I would say, not more talented people, but more well-known people in the cast, and kind of see what they came up with. I think this would be a fun movie. It's a fun movie to see as it is, but I think it'd be an even more fun movie if there was kind of a steadier hand involved in a lot of the production. But as far as premises go, and as far as ideas for movies go, you couldn't have gotten more original than this around the time this film came out. I think in the late 80s and early 90s, everything was everything was a slasher movie, or everything was a ghost movie, or everything was... And this is kind of a nice change of pace. No matter whether you like or don't like this movie, you can't say that it doesn't have good ideas and that it's not an original movie given the time period that it came out. Highway to Hell gets 3 stars out of 4. It's entertaining. I wouldn't mind watching it again. I actually have seen it a few times, and it's always one that I like to try to watch once or twice a year. It doesn't really get old. It's fun, but you have to take it for what it is. You have to take the low budget aspects of it into account, and you do have to take the cliches into account. But for what it is, you could do far worse than this in terms of action, horror, comedy, in terms of that whole subgenre. So that's my review of Highway to Hell. Stay tuned, my next review is going to be of the 1995 film The Granny. Yeah, that's actually the name of a horror movie. As always, if there's a horror, action, crime, or comedy film that you think doesn't get talked about a lot, that you think kind of got swept under the carpet, and you would like to hear my opinion on it, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll see what I can do about watching it and getting a review put up for you. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more Priceless B movies.